All right, so what's going on, fellas? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, codename Agent Danger. And check it out, man. For this video, we're going to be doing the exact opposite of what we did last time. In case you missed it, in the last Future Fight video, we were talking about some of the major comebacks of 2019. Characters that got resurrected with new uniforms in 2019. This time we're taking a look at some of the major letdowns that we received this year when we're talking about uniforms. Characters that got uniforms and we thought it would have resurrected them, put them in a good space, but it just didn't pan out overall in the grand scheme of things. Now keep in mind, as always, this is just a matter of opinion. It's subjective. It's my point of view. If you feel differently, get down there in the comment section and let me know how you feel about these uniforms and any other uniforms that you think let us down in its entirety in 2019. Now, this video is not to send shots at Netmarble and the Marvel Future Fight team. It's just to let them know, say, hey, these uniforms, they were not very good. They didn't feel like they got the love that they truly deserved. And in 2020, we would like it if you would go a little bit further for these uniforms. If possible, give us a couple of reworks, or at the very least, please ensure not to do this again with these mediocre changes for some of the most iconic characters. You know what I'm saying? Before we jump into that though, there's a couple characters that I left off the list of the last video and I want to give them an honorable mention right here. Major comebacks in 2019. How could we forget Justice for Storm? You know what I'm saying? Many people don't use her anymore, but that's not to say that Storm isn't a fantastic character right now in this beautiful X-Men red uniform. Okay, so she definitely got justice in 2019, even though many of you guys kind of forgot about her. I'm not even gonna lie, I haven't been using her that much because there's just so many characters in the game, and that's why we need more things to do with characters that are not like super OP busted, right? Because Storm is actually a very powerful character, but I just don't get around to using her as much outside of Shadowland. And then we have my boy SpiderMan 2099, Miguel O'Hara. Oh my goodness, one of the strongest speed characters in the game, definitely up there. I'm telling you guys, even at level 60, better than most level 70. And at level 70, he's pretty much god tier, one of the best speed characters in the game. And then we have another Spider here, arguably just as good as Spider-Man, and he's only at level 60. And I'm saying, what's up, Danger? My boy Miles Morales definitely got justice in 2019. Would have liked it if they went a little bit further for my G, but he's also a really good character in this uniform right here, Into the Spider-Verse. So had to give him a quick shout out before we jump into the major letdowns of 2019. I think these three characters here definitely got justice in 2019. That being said, boys, let's kick it off with this Black Widow uniform for Endgame. Honestly, team suit or the regular uniform looks beautiful, but didn't really do enough to make the character relevant after the Endgame update. Not a Captain America upgrade, not an Iron Man upgrade. Unfortunately, it was pretty mediocre. It was good enough to make her much more playable than she was previously, right? Much safer, and she got a little bit more damage, but overall, we're left waiting for a new Black Widow movie, which is coming really soon, to make her a better standalone character. She's possibly going to be getting, actually not possibly, I think it's like a 100% probability, right, that she's getting tier 3 with her movie. And when she gets her new white suit, right, hopefully that's going to be able to push her right into the mix, because yeah, that's what we need at this point, a badass Black Widow. She's never really like been a super top tier character. I know when we first started Future Fight, she was one of the few characters that could do ABX back when ABX was a big thing for the majority of the player base, right? But besides that, nah. Anyways, moving on. Next character that let me down in 2019 is actually my guy, War Machine. I was really looking forward to his endgame uniform because after seeing how much they resurrected this character with Infinity War, giving him amazing burst damage, right? He's one of the few level 70 characters that can do really good damage against Galactus in Giant Boss Raid. I was really looking forward to seeing how much further his endgame uniform or team suit would push him, and that just didn't pan out. And that's why I still haven't leveled this thing yet, and I probably won't level it even though I have both of them, right, until it ties into a uniform that I actually care about. So yeah, kind of let me down with this one. I feel like this one was just copy paste. And the thing is, I kind of understand why, right? It's because there were so many uniforms that they had to release. Well, not had to, they chose to release so many uniforms in quick succession to tie into the movie since it made sense. So because of that, they didn't get the time they needed to work on more than just the look and actually give us a little bit more substance. So unfortunately, Rhodey's one of the characters that got shortchanged. So that kind of let me down big time. That's just my personal 2 cents though. So let me know how you guys feel. Maybe if you didn't have the Infinity War uniform because you didn't pick it up back in the day, right, you would think, okay, he didn't get a letdown here. This was actually good. But if you had this, you can see, like, yeah, from this to this, it wasn't a big upgrade at all, right? From this to any of this, you will notice a significant difference, and that's generally what you want to notice when you're spending a lot of crystals to pick up uniforms. Next one we got to talk about is Crescent. Honestly, being associated with Sharon Rogers and Luna Snow, I had high expectations for Crescent's first uniform. Unfortunately, that did not pan out. So yeah, that's all I really want to say. This was a major letdown for me. I thought she could rival somebody like Sharon Rogers and Luna Snow, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think she's ever going to move out of the role of just being a leadership and just like a quirky character to play with because of the summon. But with the Warriors of the Sky update coming, hopefully they can go back and rework this uniform and make it more appealing. I'm not asking for a new one because, again, I'm not asking for people to waste their money to pick up another uniform for Crescent just to be disappointed, right? So I would like it if they would go back and rework this thing and make it a little bit better because, again, even though it's an upgrade from the base, anytime you're picking up a uniform for a character that doesn't have a uniform, it's gonna be an upgrade regardless because you're getting extra base stats, right? So yeah, no, major letdown here for me in terms of Crescent's uniform. Moving on, Beast, one of the biggest letdowns this year for me. I was really looking forward to Beast actually being a good character besides just the leadership and the 5th skill buff. Unfortunately, they shaft him in so many ways. Even his defense down doesn't apply in World Boss. He's basically just a leadership and a Shadowland character. He's basically what Cyclops was until Cyclops got the Phoenix 5 uniform. So maybe when he gets his 3rd uniform, then he'll be good. We'll have to wait and see. But this was definitely a major letdown for me in 2019. Moving on, we have Nightcrawler in his X-Force uniform. Nobody can tell me that my boy Kurt Wagner actually got the love that he deserves in this uniform. I don't know why they're hating on blue characters, man. Come on, Marvel Future Fight team. Y'all should do better by Kurt, man. This guy is a beast, and I would like it if y'all can make sure that with the next uniform that this guy gets, these freaking summons that he keeps spawning are not targetable. You take those away, like you make it so that they're not targetable, and he immediately becomes a better character, right? Because that's basically the reason why nobody really wants to use Kurt, because those summons are just pulling aggro from the boss and pulling him out of his iframes, just making him take a bunch of damage. And overall, you just basically ruin your own character by doing this. So yeah, even though the uniform looks really cool and I love to watch Kurt fly around, the summons just make him a very aggravating character to play. And because of that, he just doesn't really appeal to majority of the player base, unfortunately. Moving on, another character that let me down big time. Oh my God, I literally wanted to cry, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Some of you guys would say you're a sucker, bro. Why would you get so upset about a freaking game? But you know, when you care about something, when you get let down, it really hurts. And I waited a long time for Magic to get a uniform, and the Phoenix 5 uniform should have been a very powerful uniform for Magic. Magic is one of the most powerful characters, bro. She's the master of Limbo, a character that was once upon a time considered for the role of Sorcerer Supreme. I kid you not. Go read the comics. And this is all we got for Magic, bro. She's one of the weakest members of the Phoenix 5 right now. Like, seriously, after the update, she doesn't get used anymore. Besides Shadowland, Colossus gets used, Cyclops gets used, Namor gets used. Magic doesn't get used. Unless you're like a super hardcore Magic fan, and most of those people were gonna invest in her regardless, right? So that's pretty unfortunate. Magic is a major letdown for me in 2019. She needed a little bit more. And the thing is, if she's a member of the Phoenix 5, why does she only have one skill that does fire damage? Doesn't make sense to me. Moving on, Invisible Woman, a character that has so much potential, a very good uniform. Listen to me. I'm not saying these uniforms are garbage. I'm just saying they didn't do enough to impress me. So yes, this uniform definitely made Sue Storm better, but I think it could have gone a little bit further. So again, this is a letdown for me overall. I said it when I got the uniform. Was it at that time a must buy for me? Still would buy because I love Sue, and Sue's such a great character. The base is just so good that adding on to that is definitely going to make her better regardless. But this was definitely a letdown for me. I would have liked to see them explore her 4-star passive a little bit more to make her a much better PvP character, but she can do PvP, and she's also still a really good striker even with the recent change. So yes, even though this is a letdown for me, for some of you guys it may not be, but I wanted to include it here to push the Future Fight team to work a little bit harder when they're releasing uniforms for characters that are already really good. So moving on, we have this uniform right here, similar position to his sister. Johnny is actually a very good character even without a uniform. So because of that, I had high expectations for his first uniform. I thought it would have pushed him to, honestly, the extreme. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. We got a very lazy change here. So lazy, in fact, that you probably don't even need to pick up this uniform, even with it offering you additional stats. That is really, really bad. They could have easily made this a must-buy for him if they had simply just changed this thing so that it wasn't overriding his ISO set. Unfortunately, you never at this point want to fully awaken Johnny's ISO set, because if you do that, as soon as you hit the 5th skill, it's going to override it and take away that 40% all attack buff from the ISO set and give you a 25%. Doesn't make sense because the icon is still the same, and he basically plays the same and does like literally about the same amount of damage even with the uniform at Mythic. Just saying, that's pretty unfortunate because Johnny's a fantastic character, one of the best free-to-play characters in the game, and I think he deserved a little bit more in the form of a uniform to incentivize the free-to-play community to spend their crystals to pick up one of their free-to-play gods. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if a character is already really good and you want him force, like literally force the free-to-play community to spend their hard-earned crystals, you got to make it so that the uniform is good enough and the free-to-play players see the value in it. I don't think it's here for Johnny, so this was a major letdown for me. Moving on, The Thing. I love Ben Grimm, and when I saw he was getting a uniform, one that is as flashy as this, if you look at the skin, like seriously, the skill animation on Thing is one of the best in the game. Like, his skills are super nice to look at. He is very fun to play, but unfortunately, he needed a lot more damage to be relevant, and he didn't get that. He didn't get that. That's all I want to say. He's still a fun character, but he's basically just a Shadowland character. So if we get more game modes in the future that is closer to Shadowland and less like War Boss Ultimate, then yeah, we'll see how it pans out for Thing. But unfortunately, this was a major letdown for me in 2019. Moving on, we have the Hulk. To say this was a letdown for the community and the entire Marvel Future Fight player base is an understatement, because Hulk is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, and he's supposed to be that way. And we've never seen a version of Hulk in this game that dominates. Never seen it, and we are still waiting on that day. And unfortunately, with Endgame, we are not guaranteed to see the Hulk again for a good little while, so I was hoping that he would have gotten something major. So the Future Fight team is going to have to reach into their creative bag for 2020 or 2021 whenever they touch Hulk again to make sure that we get a Hulk that has an impact moving forward, right? I don't like to see updates pass and then as soon as that update is done, those characters are forgotten about, but that's basically what we got for Hulk. Nobody plays with him. Nobody talks about him. He had a moment where he could have been good for PvP. That moment basically ended, and that was it. That was all she wrote for one of the most powerful and most iconic characters in the Marvel Universe. Kind of sad. Moving on, we have Domino, a uniform that we literally just got, and many people were very, very excited for. It looks absolutely stunning, and I invested a lot into Domino because I wanted so badly for her to be great. Unfortunately, that was not what we got. This was a major letdown, one of the biggest letdowns for me in 2019. The damage is just not good. The survivability is better. But overall, I don't think this is a uniform that anyone needs to buy at all, even if you're a super fan for Domino. That's coming from me. But maybe if you feel different, hit me in the comments and we can chop it up. Moving on, we have Emma Frost, a uniform that I literally wanted to pull my hair out of my head, every single strand, when I realized what these guys were doing to one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. Like how they did this to Emma Frost, and after people like complaining, they never went back to rework it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Emma Frost is one of the most expensive characters to attain and develop in this game, and after getting 2 uniforms, she's still just a forgettable, like seriously, she's still just a forgettable character, and this thing is absolutely beautiful, so that should not be the case. I don't like looking at uniforms that look so freaking amazing and tell people that this is garbage. Don't buy it. It's just hot garbage, literally, right? But that's what it is, right? It doesn't make Emma Frost that much better. And by buying it, you're not going to be using her for anything really that you weren't using her for before. So it's a major letdown, and it's unfortunate to say, because by looking at this thing, you can tell that someone spent a lot of time developing this thing. And unfortunately, the skill changes, the buffs and all that stuff just didn't do enough to make it so that Emma Frost is something that people want to use after the Phoenix 5 upgrade. Sad life. Moving on, we have Scarlet Witch. This is how you know I'm not being biased. This is how you know I'm being fair. Scarlet Witch is one of my favorite characters. If you've been following this channel, you know I mention Scarlet Witch any chance I get. I absolutely love her. But fair is fair and right is right. This uniform was a major letdown simply because of the fact that we seen what she could do with the Infinity War uniform, and we were hoping that they would add on top of that in a significant, listen to me, in a significant way. However, unfortunately, this uniform was not a significant upgrade. The damage is basically the same as the last one. You play her basically the same as you did last time. It looks cooler. She's thicker, but that's about it. Unfortunately, this is not a uniform that you need to buy if you had this one. If you had nothing, then it is something you want to buy, because I think in some situations, this one is slightly ahead of this one, but this one also has situations where it's better than this one. So it kind of breaks even, where in some crazy parallel reality, if you have the cash to spend, right, having both is best, but not needed. Quite sad. Moving on, we have Thor. Fat Thor, another controversial uniform here. People didn't like the fact that Thor was a god and he's somehow fat, even though he's fat in the movie. After all my guy went through, right? Literally lost half his people at the beginning of the movie, right? Then lost another half with the snap. And like, seriously, come on, man. Like, after all Thor went through, anybody would get fat. Come on, man. That trauma is very real for my guy. And unfortunately, they didn't give him the justice that he deserves. He's still one of the better tier 3s in the game, but unfortunately, this uniform didn't live up to everything I was hoping for in 2019. One of the parts that disappointed me the most is the fact that he has Mjolnir, he has Stormbreaker, but he only really uses Stormbreaker. I would love it if he had like one skill where he literally just threw Mjolnir and then hit it with Stormbreaker. That's all I wanted. Like, I'm a simple dude, bro. Like, seriously, something like that out of the movie, just like they did for Tony and Rescue, would have made me very happy. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. He's just holding freaking Mjolnir like an ornament, and that's it. It's like a necklace. It's just there. It's not doing nothing, right? And I would have really liked it if they had pushed Thor a little bit further like they did for Captain America. And after the fact, Iron Man. We had to beg, plead, and cry for Iron Man, and people begged and screamed for Thor as well. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. So yeah, kind of sad. However, we have a new Thor movie coming soon, so justice may be coming for him in the future. Hopefully they learn from all these mistakes, right? I guess they have been learning, okay? If you take a look at this and look at where we are with this, it's progress. However, we still aren't there yet. Moving on. Oh my goodness, it wouldn't be letdown video for 2019 if we didn't have my beloved Spider-Man in this video. one of the characters in this game that breaks people's heart every single time he gets a uniform. Look at how many times they have failed to make Spider-Man a character that is worthwhile after an update. Look at how many failures. Him and Captain America, they have the most uniforms in the game. And it's not because they're trying to milk us for money. They just have different looks, especially Spider-Man. He has all kinds of different suits because he's a crafty dude, always coming up with different ways to make himself better, right? However, we don't need these incremental changes. We want to see a Spider-Man in this game that can truly dominate, and we have yet to see that. So Future Fight Team, 2020, 2021, 2022, whatever. The next time you give Spider-Man a uniform, please make it a worthwhile uniform that can actually do stuff in your game, right? Because right now, people's patience for a Spider-Man is running thin. It's running real thin, right? And giving him 10 different uniforms, but have him just be like mediocre and in some cases weaker than some level 60 or level 70 characters is really gonna piss off people. And at some point, people are gonna stop buying these uniforms, even though they absolutely love the character. Because at this point, people are simply buying, like me, are simply buying these uniforms for Spider-Man just out of sheer love, and that's it. But that can only go so far, right? So we need a major upgrade for Spider-Man with the next uniform. So Future Fight Team, get to cracking on that thing, man, because you guys are letting us down big time with all these looks for Spider-Man that we can't really use in real high level content. Okay, so yeah, next one we gotta talk about is X-Force Logan. There's a lot of disappointments in 2019. You can see, right? And I know a lot of you guys are not going to agree with all of these, but I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with about, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10 of the characters that I put on this list as disappointments in 2019. And Logan is definitely one that disappointed many of us. Not just his tier 3, right? We'll talk about that. But we're just talking about the uniform and what he did for him. It really didn't do much to make him relevant. He's barely even a PvP character. And if there's one person that's supposed to be really good for PvP because of the fact that he's damn near unkillable in the comics, like seriously, it's Logan. If you're not going to give him the highest amount of damage in the game to make it so that he can take down War Boss Ultimate Stage 99 like freaking Deadpool and those guys, at least give him like some crazy regenerative power or some crazy damage reduction to make it so that he's one of the staples in PvP. Logan needs to have something that differentiates him from the pack, and this uniform just doesn't do it. Like his lackluster counter, right? It's just not enough. It's just not enough, man. And then you guys gave him this whack tier, like seriously. The tier 3 itself, the animation is really nice. It fits for Wolverine just going ballistics, but the defense down on it, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, man. Like, come on. Future Fight Team. You took one of the most iconic looks for Logan, and for lack of a better word, you basically shitted on it. That's it. Sad life. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my letdowns of 2019. 16 different uniforms that I think have failed the player base as a whole. Again, this is not to send shots at the Future Fight Team. It's just to give them a heads up, a wake-up call, if you will. Say, hey, these are 16 uniforms that I think you should go back at some point and give us a free rework for it, because you kind of let us down big time here. Or at the very least, if nothing else, learn from it and ensure that we don't have a repeat or as many repeats in 2020, right? Because this is a lot. This is a lot of crystals right here that I think if people could get their money back for, if they had a day where they're like, you know what, turn in your uniforms, fellas, we'll give you back, I don't know, 75% of the crystals that you spend for these uniforms, people will be lining up to return some of these uniforms. Guarantee at least half of these would be going right back on the shelf because people feel like they're just a massive waste of crystals. Just saying. But maybe that's just me. But at the end of the day, I buy pretty much everything that we get in the game so I can test it out and give you guys honest feedback. And this is just my honest feedback. I'm only one person, so get down there in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. Hit me up on Discord, on Twitter, all that good stuff. Till next time, boys, stay safe. I love y'all. Peace out. 2019 was an interesting year. We got some bangers for uniforms, tier 3s, all that good stuff. But we also got some some pretty bad ones as well. But nobody's perfect. No company's perfect, right? When you're making this many uniforms, you're bound to have mistakes. But we need to limit that moving forward. Anyways, boys, till next time, stay safe. I love y'all. Peace out.